Howdy folks. So this is a video that I didn't want to have to do because previously I've said I'm not commenting publicly about anything to do with the Who Dares Wins race and the Tomlinson family. But I've just been made aware of some things that Tomlinson has said and done over the last half an hour or so, which made me feel compelled to actually set a few facts straight. The context of it is that in September last year, when I previously worked and helped Gary Tomlinson in promotion of his race last year, did his auction for free last year, signed a contract with him in September to do marketing and promotional services for him this year. And in exchange, my remuneration, trying to do a win-win deal so he didn't have to pay me money up front, was 10 teams in his race that I could go and sell as syndicate birds or whatever I wanted to do. Without going over all of the facts and the details, the contract is a written contract between us, and over the course of the last 8 or 9 weeks, things have gone quite bad, to say the least. I had a conversation with Gary Tomlinson on the 18th of April at about 8 o'clock at night. It was a Saturday, and it was quite a heated conversation, which I recorded because I knew it was probably going to be a heated conversation, and no resolution was made, and I actually hung up the phone because after an hour and 10 minutes I was fighting a losing battle, but didn't really think any more of it than that. I'm not saying anything, I'm simply stating a fact that I had a heated discussion with Gary Tomlinson, and his other 2 family members were involved because I believe I was on speakerphone, about our issue of some of the bad mouthing he'd done about the pigeons that I was trying to sell as a syndicate spot. 70 minutes later, my car was firebombed in my drive. I'm not saying they were connected. I'm simply stating 70 minutes after I had a conversation, my car was firebombed and written off. Despite that, I have been trying to resolve the issue with Tomlinson since then, really. And I thought I had a resolution with him the following Monday, and then he backed out on it 2 hours later. The reality is that I was paid 30 spots in his race that I could do what I wanted with. In addition to this, when we were still on good terms, Gary offered, instead of me having to get the 30 pigeons, Gary offered to breed them for me. And I thought that was a generous thing to do. Now, I actually thought that he probably had done it out of some guilt, because Gary, again, back when we were friendly and friends, that's a sad part of this. At one point, I thought we were friends. Gary was looking after some pigeons for a German flyer, an auction I was going to be doing. And then 2 weeks prior to him offering the 30 pigeons to me, he proceeded to tell me that unfortunately one of the aviary doors had been left open and that many of the pigeons had got out. Fortunately, 45 of the 70 pigeons was able to come back in, and 25 of those pigeons were lost, which ultimately meant I couldn't charge any commission, and I had to do things for free to make good to the person whose auction it was. So Gary proceeded to breed the pigeons for me to have as part of this contract of having the 30 entries into the race. I have continuously been told when asking for money in exchange for these 30 entries that, and I've asked for money because him bad-mouthing me, having this issue with me calling them venture pigeons, although they were bred by Gary Tomlinson, and they've been in the lofts since day one, seems to have an issue with me calling them venture pigeons. I personally think it was just an excuse. And I must say, I kind of feel like perhaps this was pre-planned. I think after Blackpool, something changed, and it may just simply be he knew he was going to hit his target of 1,500 pigeons, and he thought, you know what, I don't need him anymore. Maybe it's as simple as that, maybe not. But the fact remains that to this day, I haven't been paid a penny and received any money in any way, shape or form for any of the work that I've done. And he continues to use all of the work, all of the new logos you see, the promotional videos, the website, that was all done by me. So that's the context of this. I've been asking, because he has badmouthed these pigeons and prohibited me from sharing, prohibited me from sharing, being able to sell these pigeons, I asked for money instead and a settlement at a reduced rate. And I was already working at a competitive rate for all of the work that I've done. So that's the context. For the last many weeks, I am being told that he has adhered to the contract. I have the entries in the race, and that is it. He's taken care of his side of the deal. There's a couple of other things. This DVD that we produced together, the DVD we own 50-50. It's inconsequential to the thing, but I was told last week, despite offering him to buy me out of the DVD for simply the cost that it stood me, only £320, that was the deal I offered him, because I don't want anything really to do with it. But I didn't own the DVD anymore. I only own the online version, which is why I've been giving it away for free. Also, my son Zandy bid and won 7 pigeons in the Who Dares Wins auction, which I held on Gary's behalf and charged no commission for last year. And through various expenses I paid for Gary, that money was paid off, and Gary asked to see proof of that, and I have given him proof of that. I actually paid out £1,045, so more than the £880 that these pigeons were owed to Gary for. All during this last few weeks, I've had constantly, we've adhered to our contract, stop hassling us. Well, you've adhered to a contract, but you've also made it impossible for me to sell these pigeons and earn any money out of it. And with all of this hassle, last week, I came to the conclusion that life's too short. So I said the following. I said last Thursday, just put the 29 pigeons, not 30, the 29 pigeons into the race in my son's name, and that be it. And I sent an RPRA transfer form signed by me for him to do so. Prior to this, a couple of days prior to this, I had sent him all the proof he asked about these 7 pigeons worth £880 that I had paid out for, and I had made arrangements to pick these pigeons up at 2 o'clock on Saturday. Last Saturday. Upon my email saying, the reply to my email saying, just put the 29 pigeons into Zandy's name and I hope they'll be treated the same as all other entrants, and here's the transfer form to do so to comply with RPRA rules. I get a response saying, and I have all of the emails, I'm not going to show them now, but I get a response saying, your birds are out of the loft. That's it. If Zandy wants to enter the race, he'll have to pay like everybody else. So completely going back on what he'd been saying for weeks before. So, and I also have conversations galore. So, that's the 29 pigeons thing. The 7 pigeons issue, I went on Saturday, as agreed, Now, Gary said that he'd sent me an email when I went. Well, I'm backtracking a bit. I had arranged to go at 2 o'clock on Saturday and pick up these pigeons that are my son's, that I've paid for. And Gary had confirmed that that would be fine. Now, although I do spend a lot of time online, I don't check my email constantly. And at 9:30 on Saturday, Gary had sent me an email saying it's inconvenient, something urgent's come up, I'm paraphrasing, we'll have to make it another day. I didn't see that email. 2 minutes prior to getting to Gary's place, I sent him a message saying, I'm 2 minutes away, I will stay in your drive and I've got a basket with me. I subsequently get there. I previously asked for these pigeons to be delivered by a courier service, but that was refused. I was told you will pick them up and you will sign a disclaimer saying that they're fit and healthy. I went on Saturday with my son and my father and my brother because, with all due respect, with the events of 7 or so weeks ago, I was slightly concerned about what might happen. And as I'm about to tell you, you can understand why that concern was valid. I turn up. He said, I told you not to come. I sent you an email. I said, I didn't get it, Gary. I said, I'm here now. Let's just get the 7 pigeons. Give me the transfers. Give me the pedigrees and we're off. No, you will pick up these pigeons in 2 weeks' time when the 29 pigeons that are in the loft are got out, and you will collect the 29 pigeons as well, therefore not paying me a single penny in any way, shape or form for any of the work I've done. Remember, everything from the logo to all the leaflets you've seen to the website to all the promotion stuff I've done to the many posts I've done to have him on the show promoting the race and every more, all of that work hasn't been paid for in a single penny in any way, shape or form. Now I have Gary on here saying, show the emails, Mark. I will. And I'm not going to show the emails. Anyone wants to see them, I'm quite welcomely show the emails. So we get there and we have Gary saying, no, you can't pick them up. It's not convenient. I'm saying, Gary, let's not mess about. Let's just get the 7 pigeons for the lad and let's get on with it. 25 minutes of backward and forward with him. All about 7 pigeons, which he had completely said I can pick up. He confirmed I could pick up and that were mine. And previously, 7 weeks ago, he said, no chance, you're not picking up the 7 pigeons now because they're sitting on other eggs as feeders and you can have them after. Many times this has been shown. "25 minutes into discussions and him refusing to give the 7 pigeons to me, which I'm giving to Alexander, his son and wife turn up. And immediately, and now bearing in mind, I did my show last night, and I haven't mentioned anything about this because I've tried to keep it as professional as possible and to try and deal with things as possible. But what's happened is, over the last an hour or so, I've been informed, I've had people sending me screen caps saying, I've been informed that Gary is giving away the 7 pigeons to anybody that wants them, and then went on to give them to Pete Berry, and has the idea of donating, keeping the 29 pigeons in the race, but donating any winnings they get to charity. So here's the thing, those 7 pigeons are owned by me, and he's choosing to give them away to Pete Berry. So for anybody watching this involved in them 7 pigeons, those 7 pigeons are actively part of a police investigation, and I'll explain why in a minute. And the 29 pigeons, only yesterday, Gary chose to take the transfer form that I'd given him for the 29 pigeons to transfer into his name as per One Love Race RPRA rules, to race in Zandy's name. He chose to take that transfer form and transfer them into his own name. So I've got Gary talking at me, but he's being ignored. Quite know why how he's got on the broadcast. I've lost my thread. He went and transferred using the RPRA automated transfer system yesterday at 2:15 all the 30 ring numbers that I'd given to him to enter birds into the race, and he went and transferred them. Then at 7 o'clock, he updates the entry list and pulls all of those pigeons out of the race. And I hadn't authorized him to transfer those pigeons apart from entering it into my son's name in the race. Going back to Saturday.
You didn't say about the 7.
The 7 pigeons I legally own. It's been confirmed, and I have proof that I legally own. And Gary has chosen to give the 7 pigeons away, which I'm giving to Alexander, and I paid £880 for. I actually paid £1,045 in expenses to him. And he's chose to give them away. Now, prior to this, because I don't want this hassle anymore, life is too short for this stuff, I'm getting ridiculous comments thrown at me. Prior to this, I decided that him refusing to give the 7 pigeons away, him refusing to give the 7 pigeons to me actually becomes an RPRA issue. And I actually made a formal complaint this afternoon about this issue. Both issues, actually. Because it comes down to transfers, Rule 71, Rules 102. Let me go back to the Saturday. After 25 minutes of Gary saying he's not giving these pigeons to us, his son and wife turn up. His son, without any provocation, we were simply discussing the issue with Gary Tomlinson. His son, without any provocation, immediately gets out the car, comes towards me, and my brother stepped towards me, and Robert Tomlinson physically assaulted my brother, getting him onto the ground twice and getting him round the throat, which left marks. Completely provable. Now, prior to this, my dad, seeing the situation after Gary said that he was going to get reinforcements, had already called the police. The entire attack from Robert Tomlinson on my brother, who does happen to be a highly trained martial arts instructor but didn't retaliate in any way at all, the entire attack was videoed by Zandy here. Zandy was pushed by Annette Tomlinson and my brother was attacked by Rob Tomlinson because we turned up at the agreed time to pick these 7 pigeons up. Now, the laughable thing about this is this. Gary, being Gary, is a bully. David Cooper is very well trained, but he's chosen not to retaliate. The reality is David Cooper that he's trained not to retaliate. And in reality, could have easily dealt with Rob Tomlinson, but chose not to because he didn't want the situation to get any more. I can't show the video, Gary, which I'm going to explain in a minute. And yes, my dad is an ex-policeman many years ago. I don't know why that's relevant. So, Rob Tomlinson assaulted my brother, and the police come. Now, again, remember, this is because Gary refused to agree to pay me any money for all of the hundreds of hours of hard work and refused to give these 7 buggers back. My brother wasn't restrained, as the video shows, as Gary Tomlinson's trying to say. So, we were then we left the property after Annette Tomlinson pushed with both hands my 16-year-old son. And finally, when Rob Tomlinson, whose father, Gary, tried to get Rob off because he kept saying to leave it, or whatever he said. This is not my life. I set up RPI to help the pigeon sport and to help people who were running races like this and improve. And the reality is, Gary Tomlinson has nearly over doubled his entries this year, and some of that is as a result of me. Not all of it. Gary Tomlinson says that he was the one that thought the idea of guaranteeing 100,000 prize money. It's a complete lie. I said, why don't you do it? Ran through the financials. He spoke to his wife, and that's that. The reality of Gary and his son is they're bullies. And I refuse to be bullied. Gary is used to people backing down to his intimidation, whether it be physical or verbal or whatever, and that's simply not going to happen. I've had my car blown up. I've got no proof yet who it was. My brother's been physically assaulted by Robert Tomlinson. I would love to show the video of the assault, but I can't because it's part of a police investigation now. I have the entire audio conversation. You're right, Ashley Steer, life is way too short and it needs to stop. But what can I do when I'm dealing with someone like this? I refuse to be bullied. I refuse to have the man using all of my work and not paying me a single penny. And now he's given the 7 birds away, which is now part of a police investigation. And now he's refusing to pay me or give me the entries for Alexander in the race. I feel enough's enough. As a result of the assault and the video of the assault on Saturday, when the police turned up, within a minute of the police seeing the video, Robert Tomlinson was arrested for assault on my brother, took away in a police van, and subsequently charged with assault. Life's too short, like Ashley Steers just said. Life is too short for this stuff. On Thursday last week, I don't trust the man as far as I can throw him. I didn't like the idea of having 29 pigeons in that race. But in an effort to finish everything and move on, I said, you know what, Gary, fine, just put them into Alexander's name. And he refused to do it. Because you know what? He wasn't expecting me to do that. So I'm ignoring Gary Tomlinson now because he's just talking rubbish as always. So I tried on Thursday to finish it and get on, but Gary refused. I have got all the evidence I'm talking about, Dave Tadderton. I cannot show the video because it's part of a police investigation. I've got every single email, which I have no problem in showing anybody, and which I've showed all of the emails to the RPRA today in the official complaint. I have the contract with all of this in. Some people will like Gary. Some people will always back Gary no matter what. But all I know is this. Pre-arranged going to pick 7 pigeons up on Saturday and then ended up having no pigeons given. And Gary Tomlinson playing games and trying to be subvertively bullying, and then ending up having Rob Tomlinson attack my brother. Enough's enough. And I did the show last night, and I wasn't going to mention any of this stuff, the events of this weekend at all. But seeing what I have been sent, saying Gary is giving away these pigeons, giving away my entries, calling me a con man, accusing me of hacking into people's email addresses and stuff. I wish I was a hacker, but you know what? Even I'm not smart enough to be a hacker. They're the facts. The video is with the police. I would love to show the video of Rob Tomlinson attacking my brother with no provocation at all, coming out of the car and literally running at my brother and attacking him. But I can't, because it's part of the police investigation, because Robert Tomlinson was arrested and has been charged with assault based on the video and the injuries to my brother shown. And all of this because Gary Tomlinson refused to pay me any money or do the right thing for all of the hard work that I'd previously done, and refused to give me the 7 pigeons back. All of this because of that. So that's the full story. That's what's been going on behind the scenes. I have everything that I've said is documented and provable. Like I said, I have a full audio recording of the entire 45-minute fiasco on Saturday, which the police have as well. All I have ever wanted was to be paid for the hard work that I'd done prior to Gary choosing to fall out with me and badmouth me on social media. And I wanted the 7 racing pigeons back for my son Alexander. That's all I've ever wanted. And 2 days after my car was firebombed on my drive, I sent an email to Gary asking to be compensated at a reduced rate and have the 7 pigeons sent. This was 7 weeks ago, and it's still going on. So that's it. That's my side of it. That's what's happened. All of this has ended up with Rob Tomlinson assaulting my brother, of which, like I said, there's video evidence of, not giving the 7 pigeons and not giving me a single penny or any entries into the race in any way, shape or form for all the work I've done, the hundreds of hours work and the money I've spent to do so. So I have officially complained at 3 o'clock today to the RPRA about this. And here's a warning to anybody that takes those 7 racing pigeons from Gary. The warning to anybody taking those 7 racing pigeons is that they are part of a police investigation. I have proof I own them, and Gary refused to give them back to me. So anybody getting involved in it, you're getting involved in something that you don't own. That's my side. I have all of the email communication backward and forward, all of the messages. Anybody that wants to see it all is welcome to see it all, but I'm not about to show it all on here. But anybody. That's basically my side of the story, and I will leave it at that. I have never dealt with anybody like the Tomlinsons. Anybody. And I never want to again. Life's too short. Life's really too short. But I refuse to be bullied by these types of people for all the hundreds of hours of hard work that I've done and helping him bring in a gross income of $250,000, which he's going to make over £120,000 out of this year. And this guy doesn't want to pay me a couple of grand for the work that I've done to help him. Who's the real con man? And he doesn't want to give 7 pigeons that I've paid for and proven to be paid for. And he doesn't want to give those pigeons. That's it. Unbelievable. It makes me wonder why I even bother carrying on in this. But you can't let people win like this. Because for every one of them, there's 2 good people. And I've met some of them good people. Yeah, I would say, Mark Thompson, that I think Gary's the real con man. He comes out of this salt of the earth, but he's out and out liar. It is sad. I agree. It's really sad. And when you've had your, when you've had a couple of months like I've had, it's terrible. But anyway, I'm gonna go. Catch you later.